Did you know that the Australian Banking Association reported that the top reasons for small business failure included insufficient leadership and poor financial management? The exit rate for businesses in the 2023 financial year is 15%, the highest it has been since the 2008 global financial crisis. Welcome to Dollars and Dreams, the podcast designed to empower you to take control of your personal and business finance. You know, the very thought of money and finance can often send chills down your spine and stir up fear of the unknown. But let's change that narrative together. Through this podcast, my goal is to not only to provide you with useful information, but also to inspire and motivate you to take action towards your own financial goals. Let's rewrite your money story together. Welcome to today's episode of Dollars and Dreams. Today's episode is around small businesses and the things that they can look at to make sure that they are operating profitably. And of course, it's something that I'm really passionate about. I'm a small business owner myself. I started my business from my home when I had 3 baby boys, and it's something that has grown over time. But in those years, I've seen so many businesses fail, not because they weren't good at what they do, but because they didn't have the structures and the plans in place to make sure that they could survive and also survive periods that things are difficult. Because it doesn't matter how good your business is, business will always work in cycles of where the boom and bust. So there will be times that cash flow's tight. There'll be times that you're struggling for motivation as a small business owner. And there will be times that you love going to work and everything seems to fall in place and work as it should. But I think what I find with most business owners is that, you know, it's a bit like a marriage. Sometimes are good, sometimes are bad, sometimes are a struggle. But you have to have the strategies in place with how you're going to deal with that. And one of the things that we find is that sometimes many small business owners only think of running the business, not actually running the whole of the business. So they might be very good at what they do, whether that's plumbing, electrical, hairdressing. But the other side of it, and the more important side, is, of course, learning how to run your business so that it can give you what we like to call the 3 freedoms, and that's time freedom, financial freedom, and mind freedom. So your business should be giving you the finances that you need, because if you can go and work for somebody and earn the same amount of money or more, then you're probably better off just to go and work for somebody. So that's what we call, obviously, the financial freedom. Mind freedom is so that you don't stress over the business and what's happening in your business. And of course, time freedom is there so that you just work a normal week. I mean, so many of us, and me included, work far too many hours in our business. And that means that we're sacrificing time with our family, time doing the things that we want to do, or what we like to call the me time. So one of the scary statistics that we see quite often is that up to 60% of businesses in Australia will fail within their first 3 years of operations. And 20% of those businesses will be failing in their first 12 months. And that, for me, is not just a scary statistic, but a statistic that I find that is avoidable. And it's avoidable because most people just go, you know, I'm a great plumber. I want to go and open up my plumbing business, and off they go. There is so much more to starting a business than being good at what you do. And it's the struggle that so many have. And I quite openly say to all of my clients, I'm lucky in that I only have to run one business here. You know, this is what I do for a living. I run businesses, and it's what I do in my own business. So I'm very lucky in that I don't have to have a second trade or a second part of my business. But it frustrates me to no end that I see people going into business without actually understanding how their business works, how their consumer wants to think and act, how their ideal client, the fears that they have that you can do, And as I said earlier, being good at what you do is not enough. You need to be good at running your business. And so when we sit with our clients here in my financial services practice, we obviously sit with them and say, right, well, if you're going to go into business, you need to understand what your business model is to start off with. Are you in the right structure? Have you done a cash flow projection? Have you got some funds aside? Because you need to obviously have money to start a business and get to where you start to actually make money. So you have to have a backup plan. Do you have a plan for your business, or are you just going to wing it? Because the people that wing it may make it, but the chances are that you'll be part of that 60% statistic. And, I always say to people, you'll look at business and go, you know what, they're not great at what they do. Why are they successful? I'm phenomenal at what I do, but I'm not getting the same as they are. And that's because they've treated their business with respect and they've treated their business as a business. And, it doesn't matter how good you are at your job, but if people don't know about you or people don't know that you're good at what you do, you're never going to be successful. You'll have the occasional business that will take off for no reason whatsoever. They've done nothing. I mean, we hear that all the time, don't we? I mean, even the Wiggles, when they started, they were a university assignment. That does not mean that what they didn't do in the background when they decided to turn to a business was very strategic and planned. So many of us will just take that throwaway line that, look where the Wiggles are, and they just did it as a university assignment. And you will hear that all the time. There's another business here in Newcastle where I live that it was a uni assignment. But those two guys that run that business, and, we're not here to put people's names out there, so I won't say who the business is. I don't look after them, so I don't know the back end of it, but I can tell from what they're doing and the reverse engineering that they are very strategic. They're very business-minded. They've got their ducks in a row and all of those sorts of things. So whilst I hear young people go, look at these guys, it was just a uni assignment, they did it. That might have been where they started, but it wasn't where they have had their success. Their success has come through looking at their business through business eyes. So today I want to talk about the things that you should be doing and the reasons why businesses fail, but also what you can do to counteract that. Because it's no point me sitting here in this podcast and just telling you, you'll fail if you have no business plan. You'll fail if you have poor marketing. I'm here to give you the strategies of what you can do to counteract those reasons behind why you might fail. And I just want to quickly go through one other thing, and this is a stat from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, or the ABS as we call it. And the data there shows that half of all businesses that opened in 2019 were permanently closed by June 2023. Most of those industries, and it was close enough to 65%, came from the transport industry, from the postal industry, and the warehousing industry. So they're the three that came about in COVID, and there was a lot of them opened up with COVID, online shopping and things, but of course they didn't come up with a strategic plan. You don't want to be one of those statistics. So in today's episode, I'm going to go through the reasons why, and then we'll go through and have a look at the other end of what you can do so that you don't become part of the statistics. So some of the reasons that businesses fail is they have no income security. So that can be you didn't have enough money in bank accounts as a cash flow to cover you in those initial stages while you get yourself set up, while you start finding your first consumer, and depending on what industry you're in. So if you're in an industry you need to buy product, you've got to have enough there in the original cash flow to be able to buy the product in to sell it. If it's one where, they buy the product, then you buy it and then sell it to them, you've got to understand that there's a longer delivery time for your consumer. That may be a deal breaker for some people. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I buy something online, I want it within the next couple of days. So having enough income behind you is one of the first things that you need to do, because nothing will put pressure on you is if you can't supply something because you're waiting on cash flow. It's also about ensuring that you have enough cash flow coming in. So that, whilst it is income security, we'll talk more about that a little bit further on in cash flow management. The lack of market research. I mean, with so many people who just think that this is something that they want, so therefore the world must want it. It's important before you go into business that you do your market research. Now, if there is a market that doesn't seem to be taken up by a product or a service that you want to do, generally it's for a very good reason. So somebody will say to me, and I've had lots of people say to me that it's no point opening up this business because there's a ton of them in the market. That's for a very good reason that there's a ton of them in the market. And that doesn't mean that you have to find a unique market. You've got to find a unique selling point, or what we call a USP. So we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But keep in mind that if you've come up with a great idea that nobody has done, it's probably for a very good reason. The other thing that I say to people quite often is when they do their market research and they come back and go, oh, there's a ton of businesses already doing this. And I always say to them that there's a ton of people for a reason, as I said, but you've also got to keep in mind that the population of Australia even is 27 million. You cannot service 27 million people. So you're only looking at a very, very small slither that you want to take as a market share. And you can easily do that by doing something better than the people in the market are doing. So the other thing that that people will quite often fail in their business is not understanding the industry that they're moving into. So if you are, for example, a hairdresser, you need to understand the movement of your industry. So, you can imagine if we go back, and I'm going to show my age here, that we go back and we used to get what was called streaks before foils. So if you don't understand that the market's moving into a different type of style or a different type of way that we do things, or new trends that are coming in, as well as new technology, you will fail. And I have a great little saying that I always say here in the business that, I'm constantly evolving the way we do business here in my main group here at 123 Financial Group, is that I don't want to be the next Video Easy. So, for the children of the 70s, 80s and 90s, we used to go on a Saturday night to Video Easy. You'd pick up a video, you'd take it home, and Saturday night might have been video night because there was no Netflix and no streaming services and things like that. Netflix changed the way that videos and movies were watched. And of course, Video Easy didn't change with that market. It was very difficult, no doubt about it. Their whole business model was renting VHS, or I'm sure they went into DVDs later. But understanding your market is really important. You don't want to be the next Video Easy where you're stuck in a time warp and the rest of your industry and the market has moved on. One of the other things as accountants we always say is every business should have a business plan, and that's your map of how to get to the destination that you want. A business plan, when people think of it, is they'll always think of this 50-page document that documents everything. And business plans have got a bad rap because of that. A business plan should fit on one page. If it's not fitting on one page, you have wasted your time and your money, because you are not going to follow through on a 50-page document. You'll create your business plan, you'll throw it in the bottom drawer. And even when I was at uni and I had to do a business plan, it was expected that it would be a 50, 60-page document where we would map out who our competitors were. We'd do our SWOT analysis, so that's your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities and your threats. We would talk about your marketing, you'd do all of this, and it would end up a 50, 60-page document. That is useless. So let's throw that out the door here now. The old-fashioned way of doing a business plan does not help you in any way whatsoever. The business plan I'm talking about is a one-page, concise, with what your 5 years or what your big plan is, and then you break it down into your annual goals, your 6 monthly goals, your 90-day goals, your monthly goals, your weekly goals, your daily goals. That gives you a roadmap. And I always say it's a little bit like when you want to go from point A to point B in your car. You jump in, and we all jump onto maps, put in where we are now and put in where we want to be. And good old maps tells us the path we're going to follow, what roads to turn, when we've got to go through roundabouts and things like that. That is what your business plan should be doing. So we'll come back a little bit later on that. Not having enough funding is also another issue because that puts pressure on your cash flow. And of course, no business can survive a poor cash flow situation. Funding doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go and get loans, but quite often it is a line of credit or something, at least in the initial phases for it. Funding can also be when you need to buy equipment. So it can be, you might need a fleet of cars for your work, or you might need to, in this case here in my office here, we might need to go through and place all the computers. Funding is a really great thing to balance out your cash flow because you'll use that equipment for 5 years, 6 years beyond. So your cash flow should spread over the life of that asset. Yes, funding, and if you go and get a loan or a equipment hire purchase or something like that, you will pay interest, but it does balance your cash flow and lets you not have issues as far as finding money when you need it. Financial management or mismanagement is another cause of businesses failing. So that's where you're not taking enough interest in your business. You're not trying to listen to the story that your business numbers are trying to tell you. And quite often we see here with our client base, they'll come in and, the financial year ends, we do their tax returns, their financial statements, and we'll say to them, your gross profit margin, so that's the percentage that's left after paying for the goods that they sell, your gross profit margin's down. And they'll look at us and they go, oh, I don't know why. I thought I was still putting the same markup. So listening to the story that your financials are trying to tell you is really important for management. They need to be timely, so you need to be looking at them on a regular basis. And as business owners, I always say you should be looking at them at least monthly. You should make an appointment with your financial advisor quarterly, sit down and go through your quarterly statements, do your projections or your make any adjustments that need to be made on a quarterly basis. Yes, it will cost you money to visit your accountant every 3 months, but from the point of view of having control over your money and not losing that business or having a lack of cash flow when you need it or not knowing what's happening to make those modifications is worse. It's financially draining because you have lost the opportunity to make changes to get yourself into a better financial position. It's also draining on your mental health, and it will be draining on your time that you spend in the business. Because, of course, as business owners, once our business struggles, we tend to do more work so that we're not paying other people, which means we're sacrificing time with our family and in our own time. Poor marketing is also another reason that businesses fail. And most people say, I just rely on word of mouth. You can rely on word of mouth, but marketing is still got to be there. You've still got to have that communication with your client. But marketing is more than just your happy customers coming through and telling you that you're great at what you do and can I refer my friends, or just telling your friends to, you've got to go and chat with so-and-so. They're great at what they do. Marketing is about knowing who your client is, and it's what we call your ideal client or your avatar. So you don't want to be selling your product to somebody that isn't a perfect fit for you, because that wastes time. So understanding who your perfect client is or your avatar is such an important thing that you need to do, because you understand their pain points. You need to be able to solve a problem for a client. Now, that can be, I need a black dress, or I need a pair of blue shoes. You need to know what your consumer wants. Now, everybody will look and say, I'm not solving a problem. So I don't need to understand what my consumer wants. I just need to put my product out in the market and people will buy. That is no further from the truth than is possible. You need to know what your consumer wants. Even if you're in retail, you need to be able to get the product in to sell before the consumer wants to buy it. You need to understand that people are buying a product, when they're buying it, why they're buying it, what it solves for them. I mean, you can sell vacuum cleaners, but if a vacuum cleaner doesn't, suck up all the dirt efficiently or, anything like that, nobody's going to buy from you. So understanding what your consumer wants, when they want it, and how they want it delivered to them is really important. We have in our business here and on our digital platform, Business Growth Academy, which is on the jenrichardson.co platform, we have what we call a one-page marketing plan. And it's 9 squares. You go and fill your 9 squares in. But part of that is understanding what your consumer is and even who it is. Because, clothing for a 15-year-old is very different to clothing for a 20-year-old. It's different for a 30-year-old and 60-year-olds. So understanding who you want to sell to is such an important part of getting your business out there. Failing to adapt, as I said earlier, is about moving with the times, moving with the technology. I mean, nobody wants to go back to things not being online. Most retailers need to now have an online shop because some of us want to do the online. Most service-based businesses need to be able to have a booking system online. But failing to adapt to what the market wants is a recipe for disaster, and it is the quickest way to the bottom. Because if I'm sitting on the lounge and I want to book with my vet overnight, I don't want to have to remember to ring the next day because I get into work. The vets work the same working hours that I work pretty much. And by the time I get into work for morning, get started on my day, I don't think about that vet appointment that I need to make for one of my dogs. I get home overnight, look at my dogs and I go, damn, forgot to make an appointment with the vet. Jump online, no booking system. So if you don't have a booking system, if you're a service-based business online, then you are always going to struggle with those consumers that want to do it that way. I mean, our doctors all have online booking, our dentists, our opticians, our accountants all have it. So adapting to your market and how you can service your market is the best thing that you can do. Growing too quickly is a reason, and some people would dispute that because if you're growing quite quickly, isn't that meaning that you're going well? And there's nothing wrong with growing quickly, and that's not the issue. The issue is if you don't have the systems, procedure in place and the cash flow. Growing quickly is great as long as you can keep up with that growth. As an example there, you don't want to grow so quickly that you can't service your consumer. So if you're a builder, for example, and you're great at what you do and you're growing really quickly and lots of people are signing up, if you don't have the carpenters on site to do that work, you will get a reputation of not delivering on time or not being able to meet service standards. You will then have somebody put a really bad Google review, because remember, we're all a bit keyboard warriors at times. And of course, social proofing. So social proofing is where you use the general public to determine whether you should use somebody. An example of that is if you walk down the street and there's one cafe and it's packed and people are out on the street sitting down, and across the road is another cafe and there's 2 people sitting in it. You're probably unlikely to walk into the cafe across the road because society has told you that the first cafe that is packed is great, and that's where you'll want to go. Unless, of course, you're just going in to buy a prepackaged, bottle of water. But that is social proofing. Google reviews and all of those sorts of things is the form of social proofing, the same as that cafe that is packed. So we read the Google reviews to see if somebody's got it. Now, if you have not had a great delivery of service, or, you were that building company that's growing very quickly, but you don't have the carpenters to do the work, social proofing will very quickly put the end to your business, because people will comment and give you the 1 stars that said they'd come on a Monday, didn't hear from, they didn't show up to the following Friday. So social proofing there will be the death knell of your business. Not asking for help. So help is not necessarily within your own business structure, but not seeking help outside through business coaches, accountants, looking at your business from an outside in point of view, or of course, outsourcing anything. So we always talk about the value for money within your business. So if there's something that you're doing that could be done by somebody else at a lower rate through outsourcing or engaging with contractors, then you should do that, because your value as the business owner is not doing those menial tasks that can be done by another entity. So looking for help in how to grow your business is really important, looking at what you should or shouldn't do. Failing to hire and retain the right employees. So this is where we say getting the right people on the bus, but getting them on the bus sitting in the right seats. So you don't want somebody coming into your business that can't help you and grow your business and add value to your business. So we've all heard the thing going out, and look, I do this as well where I work, that you employ for personality, you train them when they're there. That's okay if you can do that, but you don't want to pull somebody in with no experience and expect them to do a job that they're not able to do. If you want to pull in for personality and somebody to help you grow your business because they're great at networking or they're great at whatever, that's fine, as long as that is their role, is there to build your business. But if you're pulling somebody into your business, for example, here in my financial services practice, if I pull somebody in with no experience in accounting and expect them to do tax returns, you can bet I'm either going to be sued, or it's going to be inefficient, or clients aren't going to be happy and they're going to leave. So for me, it's about hiring people that are capable of doing the job to about 80%. If they can't do that other 20%, that's okay. We can train them up and we can upskill them and we can give them ways of building their abilities. But they've got to have a basic understanding of being an accountant before they can be employed here. So retaining the right employees. Now, I'm very much an advocate if your employees aren't fitting the model, no matter how good they are, then they're not the right person for your business. And I have over the years, unfortunately, had people that are very good at what they do, but they just don't fit the model as far as, my service practice here is all about making clients feel comfortable and not making them feel that they're not capable of doing things, or making them feel like they don't have an ability to be good at business and things like that. So I am very careful about when I employ people now that it is personality. I want people that want to grow, and I want people that want to give our clients that sense of satisfaction that they can do it. And that's important for you. I mean, we've all employed people that are not a great fit. And I have a policy here that we have a no dickhead policy. And I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but I don't want to employ anybody that's a dickhead. Doesn't go well for us that spend 8 hours together. Doesn't go well for our clients. So employing the right people is the thing that you need to do. If you have the right person, though, remember, people want to stay where they are. And it's not always about money. Be very careful here. You'll hear people say all the time that, just give them more money, they'll stay. Money will never keep people happy in an environment where it's not friendly, where it's not comfortable. A toxic environment, no matter how much you're paid, means that you will not stay. So there's some of the reasons that businesses fail. I did give a few tips there along the way, but my tips that you need to do to counteract all those reasons are, first thing you need to do is seek advice from somebody who can help you. So a business mentor that is qualified. Please don't jump onto all these people that go, I'm a business mentor and I've done all this, and they don't actually have a business. Look for somebody who is qualified. So an accountant, a financial advisor, or a business mentor that has, an MBA or something like that. Do not jump onto somebody who has just had potluck and grown their business. So get help from the very start. Putting those foundations in place is a really great start. Create a business plan. Know where your business is going. It's really important that you understand your business and where it wants to be, so that you can put a plan in place and put those steps in place to do it. Look at your funding, which is part of what you will do as part of your business plan. Do your marketing plan. So if you need help with that one, reach out to me here and I can get you access to our one-page marketing plan that we do with our clients. Looking at and understanding your financials monthly, and meet with your accountant quarterly. Don't make it that you're looking at your financials 18 months later when you've lost the opportunity to grow or lost the opportunity for that business to give you something better in that 18 months. Understand your industry, do the research, jump onto journals. There's plenty of information online these days about where your industry is going. Join networking associations. Most industries have their own where they can give you the feedback about what products and techniques are coming in. But more than that, you need a strategic plan with your business. How are you going to do it? Where do you want to be? Understand your avatar. Remember, that's your ideal client. So jump into Facebook groups. Ask people what they want. So, when I started my business, I talk to my clients all the time about what makes you come to me and not the next accounting firm. Most of them said it was my attitude, my friendliness, my just like I was chatting to them. I wasn't talking down to them. I wasn't dictating to them, and I wasn't, finger pointing or, anything like that. Do your market research and be prepared to adapt. Because something works in your business this year doesn't mean it is going to work in your business next year. For anyone that is ready to look at their business and how to grow, please reach out to me here at Dollars and Dreams, or you can reach out to me at jenrichardson.co. We've got lots of stuff coming up in the Business Growth Academy, which is on the jenrichardson.co website. So we're going to have lots of free resources that's there. So keep an eye on that in the future. But please remember, you don't want to be part of those statistics where 60% of businesses will fail within the first 3 years. And of course, 20% fail in the first year. Being successful in business is about planning and being organised. Systems and procedures and step-by-step approach is what will help you. So I hope that today has helped you. I've been where you are. I've started my business from scratch. I've done lots of things that were wrong over the years. Don't get me wrong. I haven't got this right all the time from my business. But that is what is making me a great business coach now, is that I've done those things and I've come out the other side. I've made mistakes, but I've found the solutions to them. So reach out to me here at jenrichardson.co if you need any help or if you want to do any business coaching with me or my firm here at 123 Financial Group. So that's it for me for today. Thank you for joining me on Dollars and Dreams, and I look forward to catching up with you next week. Remember, the advice shared in Dollars and Dreams is general in nature and it does not consider your own personal circumstances. Dollars and Dreams is for educational purposes only and should not be relied upon to make investment or financial decisions. If you need more help, please reach out to a financial advisor for tailored personal advice. Don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. And please leave me a review. Your feedback really helps me to reach other people chasing their money dreams. You can find me over on Facebook and Instagram to connect with me. You will find the link in the bio or head over to my website at jenrichardson.co where you will find free content and learning tools.